You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no schedule, no inbox waiting for you. For most of human history, this was not a luxury. It was simply life. For roughly 300,000 years, human beings lived without offices, clocks, calendars, or job titles. Yet somehow your ancestors survived long enough to pass their genes, habits, fears, and instincts all the way down to you. That raises a strange question. What exactly did they do all day? Modern life often creates the impression that productivity is measured by constant activity. If a person is not working, commuting, answering messages, or checking notifications, it can feel as if nothing important is happening. But ancient humans lived according to a completely different rhythm. Anthropologists who studied hunter gatherer societies found something surprising. Many groups spent far less time on food gathering than modern people spend at work. Richard Lee's famous research among the Gu people of southern Africa during the 1960s suggested that basic subsistence often required only a few hours of focused effort per day. The rest of the time was not wasted. It was filled with social life, tool making, storytelling, learning, childcare, observation, and rest. Imagine a morning on an African savanna roughly 40,000 years ago. The sun begins to rise, the air is cool. A small camp of families slowly wakes. Nobody rushes toward a factory. Nobody checks a clock. The day begins with conversation, movement, and attention to the environment. Some people inspect the remains of last night's fire. Others stretch sore muscles. Children wake gradually and stay close to parents, grandparents, siblings, and unrelated adults who all help watch over them. Human childhood is unusually long compared to most animals. That means ancient communities invested enormous amounts of time teaching, guiding, and protecting young people. What happens next depends on the season, the weather, and recent success. If food supplies are running low, a hunting party may prepare to leave camp. Spears are checked. Stone points are examined for damage. Water containers are gathered. Knowledge accumulated across generations becomes incredibly valuable. Which animals have been seen recently? Which water sources are still reliable? Which paths are safest? This knowledge did not exist in books. It lived inside human minds. James Sussman, who spent years studying hunter-gatherer societies, observed that survival often depended less on constant labor and more on information. Knowing where resources were located could matter more than physical strength. A mistake might waste an entire day. Good information could feed dozens of people. As the hunting group leaves, others remain behind. Many people picture ancient life as endless hunting, but hunting itself was often only one part of a much larger daily routine. Gathering plants, roots, nuts, fruits, honey, and edible seeds frequently provided a significant portion of calories. In many environments, gathering was more reliable than hunting. So while some individuals track animals, others search for plant foods. This work requires remarkable expertise. A forest may appear full of identical plants to an outsider. To experienced gatherers, every species tells a different story. Some are edible, some are medicinal, some are poisonous, some become useful tools. Ancient humans carried vast mental libraries about their surroundings. Meanwhile, back at camp, another essential activity unfolds. Tools wear out. Stone blades become dull. Wooden shafts crack. Containers break. Clothing tears. If modern technology vanished tomorrow, most people would struggle to produce even a simple cutting tool. Ancient humans could spend hours repairing and improving equipment because those tools directly affected survival. Archaeological sites reveal astonishing craftsmanship. At places like Blombos Cave in South Africa, researchers discovered evidence of symbolic behavior, tool production, and careful material use tens of thousands of years ago. These were not primitive people stumbling through existence. They were skilled problem solvers constantly refining their technology. Children learned by watching. Formal classrooms did not exist, but education happened continuously. A child observing adults prepare food, shape stone, identify tracks, or tell stories was receiving practical lessons that could one day save a life. Learning was woven into everyday experience. What about free time? This is where modern assumptions often fail. Many people imagine that ancient humans spent every waking moment fighting for survival. Evidence suggests reality was more complicated. Polly Wiesner's research among hunter-gatherer groups documented extensive evening storytelling, social interaction, and cultural exchange around campfires. After darkness fell, conversations often shifted away from practical concerns and towards stories, myths, social relationships, and distant places. In other words, people entertained themselves. They laughed, they joked, they shared memories, they argued, they fell in love. Human beings are social animals. Much of what makes life meaningful today existed long before civilization. Friendship, affection, curiosity, status, cooperation, jealousy, pride, and humor were already shaping human behavior thousands of generations ago. Now imagine the middle of the day. The temperature rises, movement becomes slower. In hot climates, people often avoid unnecessary exertion during the hottest hours. Shade becomes valuable, rest becomes practical. This is not laziness, it is energy management. Your ancestors lived in environments where calories mattered. Every unnecessary movement had a cost. Efficient behavior often increased survival odds. Modern fitness culture sometimes celebrates exhaustion as proof of achievement. Ancient humans generally preferred effectiveness. If a task could be accomplished with less effort, that was usually the smarter choice. Then something interesting happens. A successful hunting party returns. The entire camp pays attention. Large game creates both opportunity and responsibility. Meat must be processed, portions must be distributed. Social rules become important because cooperation helps prevent conflict. Anthropologists have repeatedly observed food sharing practices among hunter-gatherer societies. Sharing reduces risk. A hunter may succeed today and fail tomorrow. Over time, cooperation provides stability. This cooperative behavior may have helped shape human evolution itself. Humans are unusual among primates because we rely heavily on collaboration. The ability to work together, exchange information, and support unrelated individuals allowed our species to thrive in diverse environments across the planet. As afternoon fades, another important activity continues. Observation. Ancient humans constantly watched the world, animal tracks, weather patterns, seasonal changes, the behavior of birds, the condition of plants, the position of stars. Information gathered today could become crucial tomorrow. Survival rewarded attention. Modern environments often flood the brain with artificial signals. Notifications compete for focus every few minutes. Ancient humans faced different challenges, but their attention remained closely connected to the natural world around them. Consider how much knowledge a skilled tracker possessed. A faint footprint in dirt could reveal species, direction, speed, age, and condition. What appears invisible to most modern people could become obvious to someone trained from childhood. These abilities seem extraordinary today because few people need them anymore. As evening approaches, camp begins to transform. Fires are prepared, food is cooked, families gather together. The invention and control of fire changed everything. Fire provided warmth, protection, cooking, light, and a gathering place. Some researchers argue that fire also extended the social day. Once darkness arrived, people could continue interacting instead of immediately sleeping. Around these fires, culture flourished, stories preserved information, myths reinforced values, elders shared experience, children absorbed lessons, relationships deepened, group identity strengthened. At sites such as Chauvet Cave in France, stunning cave art demonstrates that ancient humans were not solely concerned with survival. They created, they imagined, they expressed ideas symbolically. The desire to tell stories and make meaning appears deeply rooted in human nature. Then comes the counterintuitive part. Agriculture may have made life busier. When people hear about farming, they often assume it automatically improved daily life. In many ways, it did. Agriculture supported larger populations and eventually enabled cities, writing, governments, and technological progress. But early farmers often worked harder. Skeletal evidence from various archaeological studies suggests that some farming populations experienced increased physical strain, more repetitive labor, and sometimes poorer nutrition compared with certain hunter-gatherer groups. Farming required constant attention to fields, crops, storage, and livestock. The transition was revolutionary. It was not necessarily relaxing. For countless generations before agriculture became widespread, many humans followed seasonal cycles rather than fixed work schedules. Life remained difficult and uncertain, but it was organized differently. That does not mean ancient life was easy. Far from it. Injury could be devastating, disease could be deadly. Food shortages occurred, predators existed, harsh weather threatened survival. Infant mortality was high by modern standards. The past should not be romanticized, yet it should not be misunderstood either. Ancient humans were not miserable creatures trapped in endless struggle. They were adaptable, intelligent people navigating complex environments with remarkable skill. Their days contained work but also conversation, responsibility but also play, risk but also community. And perhaps that is why their lives still matter. Your brain was shaped during this immense stretch of human history. Many modern experiences feel rewarding because they connect to ancient patterns: time with friends, walking outdoors, sitting around a fire, learning through stories, helping family members, exploring unfamiliar places. These behaviors are not random. They echo activities that filled ordinary days for thousands upon thousands of generations. The next time you feel guilty for taking a walk, talking with friends, resting in the afternoon, or simply watching the world around you, remember that productivity is not the only thing human beings evolved to do. Your ancestors did not spend every moment chasing efficiency. They spent their days paying attention, solving problems, sharing knowledge, building relationships, raising children, making tools, telling stories, and adapting to a changing world. Those activities were not distractions from life, they were life. You wake up when your body is ready. No alarm, no schedule. And suddenly that distant prehistoric morning no longer feels unfamiliar. It feels like a faint memory carried quietly inside your species for hundreds of thousands of years.